Hello everybody. The topic for today is pranayama. Now, I get questions about pranayama all the time. I've never met anybody who doesn't know what it is, or who has never done it, or who hasn't ever read about it. So, a lot of questions that people have, and a lot of misconceptions as well. But I think the main thing that people really want to know is how to do the pranayama in a safe, effective, and easy way. And so I wanted to address that in this video. I want to start off with what is the pranayama, and then move on to two techniques which are safe and easy for everybody to try at home and to do daily without any side effects and with a lot of benefits. And then finally I wanted to address a few misconceptions and a few questions that people have asked me over the years. And if you have these queries, or if you have these misconceptions, stay tuned till the end of the video, and maybe you'll find a lot of valuable insight into the pranayama. So let's start off with what is the pranayama. Now, in the Ashtanga system of yoga, pranayama is the fourth limb. In the 8 limbs, pranayama is the fourth limb, which means that after you're done with yama, niyama, and asana, then you can start with your pranayama practice. Basically, what it's about is breath control. So, many advanced pranayama techniques talk about breath retention, expelling the breath, or inhaling and holding, and it's a very vast field. But for most of us, for most people who don't have a lot of time to devote to pranayama, the practice in itself can take up to an hour and a half. And this is besides your asana practice, besides any other kind of workout that you do. So most of us do not have an hour and a half to spend on the complex pranayama techniques. So the basic techniques are also very good to implement every day. There is a meditative quality to basic pranayama techniques, and the benefits are immense. Even if you only do simple, easy pranayama techniques such as the ones I'm going to show in this video, you will experience a lot of benefits, such as a sense of peace, a sense of calmness, a sense of energy. You'll feel more energetic, you'll sleep better. So overall, it's great to enhance the quality of your life. However, instead of focusing on doing very complicated and very difficult pranayams, or trying to spend a lot of time doing the pranayam, I suggest that you do pranayam only for 10 or 15 minutes, but do it right and do the simplest pranayam that you can find. So the two techniques that I want to address in this video are one is the Anulom Vilom Pranayam, which a lot of you might have already seen on TV, or had teachers who've taught you. And the second technique is just basic simple inhaling and exhaling. And simple inhales and exhales are very difficult for a lot of people, simply because none of us are breathing right. Unless you're really conscious of the way you breathe, most people are not breathing in the optimal manner. So I always stick to simplicity. Try these two techniques every day, and you'll definitely see that even if you do it just for 10 minutes before you go to sleep, you'll definitely see a lot of changes. So I would stick to this instead of trying to go for more advanced pranayams. Okay, so let's start with just inhaling and exhaling. The correct method of inhalations and exhalations. So when you inhale, you should focus on expanding the abdomen, the chest, and the shoulders. And when you exhale, in the same manner, you're going to focus on compressing the shoulders, the chest, and the abdomen. And just like this, you're just going to inhale and exhale a couple of times. So when you inhale, you can even visualize really expanding your torso, and when you exhale, focus on compressing everything. And just this, if you do 5 times, just make sure that you're actually focusing and counting to 5. I find that when you do this very slowly and very meditatively and very consciously, sometimes people even lose a count of how many breaths they've taken, because it's supposed to take you a long time. So these are not shallow breaths. You have to take long inhalations and long exhalations. And when you do that, then you'll see that even taking only 5 breaths will take you at least 3 to 5 minutes. So try this out and let me know if you have any questions. It's basically inhaling and exhaling. and try to do it slower than what I just did. Now, the second technique is the Anulom Vilom Pranayam. Now, in my classes, I've seen a lot of people doing many variations of the Anulom Vilom Pranayam. But the one that I teach, and the simplest one to remember, is to use the Nasika Mudra, which is where you fold your index finger and you fold your middle finger, and then you use your thumb and your ring finger to actually block the nostrils. I know a lot of people have something wherein they put, a few fingers in the forehead, between the forehead. There are many different ways of doing this. As long as you're doing it, I suppose it's okay. I always teach it, in this with the Nasika Mudra, because I think that's a very easy thing to remember. The mudra is very easy to remember, and I really like simple techniques. The way you do the Anulom Vilom Pranayam is basically you inhale, you block one nostril and inhale from the other one, and then you block, and when the inhalation is complete, then you block the other nostril and exhale through the other one. And then once again you inhale from the same one and you exhale from the other one. And this is one round of the Anulom Vilom Pranayam. I always recommend that you do this after you do your deep inhales and exhales, because your body gets used to the whole process of expansion and compression. And even in the Anulom Vilom Pranayam, when you inhale and exhale, we're looking at expanding and contracting the body, the upper body. If you do not give the oxygen that you're inhaling enough time to stay in your lungs, what happens is that the oxygen doesn't get assimilated completely by the body. So the slower your inhale, the longer that the oxygen stays in the lobes of your lungs, the more your body can actually extract that oxygen and just expel the carbon dioxide out. So I always, and again, 5 rounds of this is all you really need, and if you do it really slowly and meditatively and consciously, you'll find that your thoughts slow down and you actually start to relax. And in the whole process of kind of pranayama, like controlling your breath or exercising your breath, you also learn how to breathe more deeply, and you learn how to breathe in the correct way. And what that does is that in your regular life, when you're not practicing pranayama, you start to breathe more meditatively and you start to breathe deeper. People who practice pranayama experience less stress, they can handle stress better, they're happier, they're calmer. All of it has to do with the technique of breathing, because the correct technique of breathing actually gets more oxygen into your system, or actually makes more oxygen available to your system. And I have a theory that the reason that yogis look really young is because of the correct way of breathing. According to the philosophy of yoga, a person's lifetime is not measured by the number of years. Their mortality is not measured by the number of years. It's actually measured by the number of breaths allotted for a person in a lifetime. So if you don't breathe properly and you have shallow breathing and very quick breathing, you're just using up that quota that you have for the entire lifetime. You're using it very quickly, and you start to age more, and you start to slow down before you're actually old. You start to look older. We see that all the time. We see that around us. Stress, tension are actually making people feel and look older, and I believe that has to do with the fact that they're not breathing. When you're under stress, you're not breathing properly. And I think that because yogis are, they practice pranayama daily, and there's a lot of breath control even in asanas. I think that's why a lot of yogis look so young, and that's why they're so happy, and that's why they're so stress-free. So do try this and let me know if you have a question. This is Anulom Vilom, and just deep breathing, long inhalations, long exhalations. A few things to remember is that your face should be absolutely calm. So you shouldn't be bunching up the face and frowning when you do the pranayam. That causes a lot more tension to be built up in your body. So avoid that at all costs. And if you find yourself doing that, stop the practice, calm your face down, and then start the practice again. Another thing is that the breathing should never be very vigorous. The breathing has to be such that even you can't hear it. So my breath has to be so soft and so slow that it's not just about my neighbor in class, but it's also that I should not be able to hear myself breathing. That's the only way that you're actually going to be able to control your breath. As mere mortals, we actually have to use our digits, our fingers, to, you know, control the breathing, but you know, yogis of the past, great yogis, have been able to control the breathing at will. They don't even need their digits to actually you know, control the flow of breath through the nostril. They can do it at will. So that's what you know, the breath control is all about. That's what pranayama is all about. It's not, it should not sound like wheezing. It should not give you a backache. It should not give you a pain in the chest or the shoulders. It should actually result in a feeling of calmness, of lightness, and of happiness. And now let's move on to a few questions that I've come across over the years from students and strangers and friends and even family. So the first, the most popular question is doing only pranayama enough to maintain good health? And the answer to that is a resounding no. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, pranayama is the fourth limb in the 8 limbs of yoga. So you have yama that comes first, niyama that comes after that, and then you have asana. And pranayama only comes after asana, you know. So, and in all the yogic literature, in all yogic texts, it clearly states that you must do asana first, and then only then you must do pranayama. In fact, there are texts which say that samadhi can even happen before asana. Samadhi is the last limb of the 8 limbs, but pranayama will only and should only occur, only be practiced by the sadhaka, by the practitioner, after asana. So no, pranayama is not enough. Doing the practice of pranayama only will not you know, give you the kind of energy required, or the flexibility required, or you know, the kind of balance required to maintain a healthy body. And remember, it's always a mind-body complex. Pranayama is great for your mind, but then for that mind-body coordination, you definitely need to do the asanas, and definitely the yama and niyamas also. Okay, next. Is more better? Okay, so I have attended a lot of yoga classes where I see people almost wheezing, you know, in the pranayama. They breathe vigorously, and you know, they contort their faces, and you can see that it doesn't look like they're having a good time when they're practicing the pranayama. No, more is not better. If you have only 5 minutes and you hope to do 10, 12 breaths in the 5 minutes, trying to make the most of the 5 minutes, that is not, then you know, then you're not practicing the pranayama in the right way, and you're harming the body also. Pranayama is a practice for calming the body down, calming the mind down. So if you just try to practice more vigorously, more cycles, more rounds of you know, of the breaths, without really focusing on technique, then that's just doing a lot more harm to your body. So no, more is not always better. When it comes to yoga, technique is key. You should practice correct technique, correct alignment, and only then is it worth it. Okay, a lot of people ask me if they can do pranayama, like for instance anulom vilom. Can they do this while they're watching TV, or can they do this when they're out for a walk? You know, and the answer again is no. The reason for that is that if pranayama is about the oxygen that's available, you know, the breath, the oxygen that's available to your body. Now, the body should be in a particular posture. There are optimum postures, meditative postures that have been defined by ancient texts, which enable the breath flow and the flow of oxygen in an optimal manner in your body when you sit. Try to focus on breathing and to do something else at the same time. You're not really focusing on anything, you know. So pranayama is not only about mindlessly you know, inhaling and exhaling. It's a lot, it's more about, you know, trying to center yourself, trying to be aware of the process of breathing, aware of how you're breathing, about posture. It's about all of that. So and again, like I said, it comes after asana. So the asana component, you know, the posture that you're sitting in or lying down in, is key in the practice of pranayama. So if you are, you know, if you think you're going to go for a walk and get your walk and your pranayama practice done in one go, that's incorrect. I would suggest that you spend 5 minutes or even 10 minutes, but do it separately and do it properly again. Okay, what is the best time to practice pranayama? Now, according to texts, the ancient texts, it's between 4 to 4:30 in the morning. Now, the best time to practice pranayama. or then in the evening. Okay, but modern lifestyles don't really permit us to kind of practice in the middle of the day or early morning. So I would suggest that you can do it right before bed also, but do it once a day. Once a day, it's amazing. As soon as you wake up, it's great. If you just take a few breaths, if you inhale and exhale deeply, it just changes the whole tone of the day. It changes the mood of the day. So ideally 4 to 4:30 a.m. But if you don't have that kind of time, then any time during the day when you can focus in a quiet place and when you can really connect with yourself. And also, I wanted to add a little note about the Kapal Bhati. Okay, now it's Kapal Bhati. I hear people mispronouncing it all the time. It's not Kapal Bharati, it's Kapal Bhati, and that is considered an advanced pranayama. Now, I see people doing that all the time in a lot of yoga classes, but actually, if done improperly, that pranayama can directly have an impact on your heart. So I would suggest that you practice the Anulom Vilom pranayama and you practice deep breathing before you actually move on to more advanced pranayams like the Kapalbhati. So in my classes, I don't teach the Kapalbhati because it takes years of asana practice and then pranayama practice to finally get to the advanced pranayama. We tend to think that it's easy because we've been breathing since we were born, so we can do any kind of pranayama just because it's it's exercising the breath. But the fact is that we might be breathing, but we're not breathing right, and it's important to get the breath right, the technique and the process right before we start to play around with the breath. So just remember these. Start from today. Start your pranayama, your anulom vilom, your deep breathing from today, and in a week you're going to see changes, and it's an amazing practice. And if you have any questions, let me know. And I hope you found this video very useful. Thank you.